Welcome to the Bellerin Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Levi Miller.
And I'm Tom Lucan, the co-host with Levi. I'd like to welcome everybody this week. We have I can't say well-known guest, but he's well-known to us. His name is Doug Voss. Doug is a veteran of approximately 6 years in the military. We'll let him define a little better. Doug has done time back in the late 60s on the Korean DMZ. He also did time in Germany along the border. So Doug is one of those well-experienced Cold War soldiers for both sides of the continent. So, Doug, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Thanks, Tom. Good to be here.
We appreciate having on. I know we got an hour to discuss a lot of things. An hour may seem long, Doug, but trust me, it goes quick. After doing several of these shows with Levi,
Don't we, Thomas? Yes.
So, Levi, where do you want to start them at?
Well,
I guess firstly, let me take a step back. Doug, do me a favor, or do us a favor, and give us a thorough background of your military experience, and we'll go into some other questions.
All right, sounds good, Tom. And Levi?
Okay.
Yes, I joined the Army actually in 1968. It was in July. Basic at Fort Bragg, took AIT at Fort Jackson, and by November of '68, I was in Korea, of all places. I didn't have orders to go to Vietnam.
Okay.
Because of all of the destruction that North Korea was doing to military equipment and ambushing of patrols.
Yes.
A lot of us had orders to change to go to Korea. And I was at Fort Dodge, which was the first camp that I was at. I was trained as a recovery mechanic, but because of the shortage of troops, I was also put on stakeout along the fence. That's what they called it back then. But we also did duty between the barrier fence and Imjin River. And that's how I got my Imjin Scout badge. And there were a couple firefights that I actually saw, and if I don't know if you ever saw any, Levi, but up on top of the hill there where the EM and NCO club is from Camp Dodge.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that club pretty good, Thomas.
Yeah.
And make it so funny.
It was unreal. One time when we came out of there, I mean, there was about three of us, and we were going to go down those 100 steps to get down to the bottom of the hill, go back to our Quonset huts. And we saw some flue gas going off.
Right.
And then we saw some tracers heading north and south. It was brief. It was quick.
Oh, yes.
But we just stood there and watched this thing going on, and that's how close the danger was, even right to the camp.
Yes.
So and then the second time I was up there, I saw something similar to that when I was out on a stakeout patrol. I wasn't actually in action, but that was the second action that I saw. There was infiltrator who got up to the barrier fence, and what was it? I think it was A Company, 2nd 23rd.
Yes, I think that. Yeah.
They dispatched of him real quick,
yeah.
And I mean that's a kind way of saying it. But on the stakeouts I was on, you can probably remember how quiet it could be out there. You could hear a pin drop sometimes at night. And
I was telling Thomas that's real scary too. Yes, Doug, I told Thomas that's real scary when it's real quiet like that, and the moon got everything lit up. It's real scary.
All of the monsoon weather hits and it's pouring down rain, you can't hear a bloody thing.
Can you hear me, Tom?
Thomas?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I know both you guys can relate about when it was dark and you were out there, you were with an 8-man patrol, and that was all that you had to rely on. You're fully armed, locked and loaded, but sometimes you hear noises, and
you do.
empty one magazine into the direction of that noise. I mean, it sounded like footsteps, not a four-legged animal, but we swore that it was human. You know, just by the, as an animal, when they walk, it has a different sound, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, but this one was 1, 2, and then quiet, and then did it again, 1, 2. So, we had 4-deuce motors. We had a lot of options if we needed to see something at night, but the 4-deuce motors shot up about 3 illumination flares so we could see anything. We couldn't see a thing.
Right. It get dark.
Yeah, but not a thing. And the next day we went out there, no blood, surprisingly. I mean, the S2 went out there. But I think we used to call those, before the 80s, we called them ghost firefights.
Yes, they did.
In the 80s, they call them training firefights, I think, or something like that.
Right.
Missions, yeah.
And Doug, yes.
That's as close as I got to any action, but it was enough. And I know you guys remember those speakers, too, from North Korea, just blaring every night.
Every night.
And you're out there,
And you know, Doug, like you said, yeah, we get the little scrimmage sometimes, you know, be very, very quick. You know, a lot of times, you know, North Korean, they'll come up, you know, to the base of the GPS and, you know, throw a little rock or something, or, you know, the trip flares will go off at night.
right?
Yeah, but that's where it were. And Doug, and Tom, I'm gonna tell you something real funny. The NCO club, the one with the lot of steps at Camp Doug.
Yes.
I got drunk one night. It was snowing. I fell down.
Oh, man.
I rolled a long way down the
hill.
hill.
Guys that took a tumble down there, and one guy landed in the concertina wire down towards the bottom of the hill there.
Oh yes.
And he was feeling no pain until the next day.
Well,
back then too, you know, he was good humored about it, but
right.
yeah, that was weird. That right up, and from that hill, you could see the whole DMZ. I mean, the west practically. Well, I'm not saying all of the western corridor, but you could see a lot of the DMZ. Of course, you could see over in the Propaganda Village.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Someone got some pictures that I took from O.P. Macy.
Yeah, I think I've seen some.
And then somebody from the 80s took a picture of almost the same view as I did.
Right.
And we compared it, you can see the hills and everything's all the same. But O.P.'s name was changed, and I can't remember now.
Oh yeah, that's what Thomas I was talking about too. It's changed a lot since we was there, Doug. You know. They were using a lot of names back then, you know, especially a lot of ladies' name, and G.P. Turner Martin, Katie Lucy, and yes, I
mean, we're all in our sector. I think you and I had crossed the same, you know, walked down the same roads, paths, same gates, and whatever else too. You know.
Yes, I think we all were all on the same. It was the same.
Yeah.
Right. And you know, I was looking at some of the video you and Thomas put out, man, and that brings back a lot of memories to me.
Oh, yeah. But I'll tell you, it's good to meet somebody that was up there. We ate the same dust in the summertime up there in 69. Yeah.
Right. And I think Thomas was...
You remember we had to take malaria pills?
Oh,
and,
yeah. I remember all
I don't
that.
know if you remember, but when I was there in 69, I don't know if you saw it, but it was in July of 69 that I did see Agent Orange being sprayed along that road.
Uh-huh.
You know, that comes up from Freedom Bridge and it keeps on going and goes by Camp Greaves on to Panmunjom.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there was a deuce and a half with a tank in the back, and they were going up back and forth on the road to, well, as the Army says, tactical deployment, and they said it was safe to walk in. Well, I guess those days that gone, you know, I mean, I know a lot of guys have Agent Orange exposure now.
That's true.
I think you're in that time period too. Did you see any of that, Levi?
Yes. You know, we seen a lot of. We didn't know what it were. You know, and a lot of foliage. You know, it was dying out real quick, and especially on that barrier fence there.
Yes. I mean, they also sprayed fire lanes, as you know, from the GPs.
Right.
And clear any brush or vegetation away from the fence and barrier road.
That's true.
It was all just barren, you know, not even a weed.
Right.
So, in a way, it didn't help see things because, as you know, in the DMZ, there's a lot of brush, a lot of thickets, there's a lot of tall grass. It's ambush territory right there. They had to be alert constantly, as you know.
That's true.
So in some places it did help, but we didn't know it was bad for your health back then.
Well, you know, we was safe when Thomas got there. You know, Thomas seemed like he was over there forever, right, Thomas?
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a hard time here.
Okay.
Both of y'all now.
You having a hard time here? How about now, Tom?
Yeah.
You hear better now?
I don't know if it's my connection or what, but I'm having a hard time hearing both y'all right now.
'Cause we hear you real good. How about now, Thomas?
What's that?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it sounds like you're cutting out a little bit. Like I said, I think it's my connection, my phone, and so you got a little stress. But
good now.
Yeah. Doug said he can hear you real good now, Thomas.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Doug. We've been, as you know, Doug. We've the last few shows we kind of did interviews with Bob Kern, as you know, Bob, and Mark Pico. You know, with the book series with Mark, with his probably talking about both his first two books, Call Sign Purple 3 and DEFCON 4. And naturally, you know, Bob Kern's book series. In fact, we got Bob back on in a couple of weeks. But with Bob and his book series, the first three in the series, We Were Soldiers too. And it's like I told Levi before getting on that, you know, you got a unique, and as I told the listeners at the beginning, you got a unique experience of both, where you started back in the late 60s there in Korea and also in Germany during the early 70s. I guess what I like to do is give us a little bit of your background and experience over in Germany, especially because you went up on the Czech border, correct? Because I know you had the Czech and East German border.
Our unit rotated one time it was the East German border, and another time it was with the 11th Armored Cav. We took their place. I was with the 3rd and the 7th Cav, A Troop, at that time. And
that was with 3rd IG, correct?
I was recovery mechanic. I did, they gave me 11 Delta MOS, which was Scout. So, right along the border is where I was, yeah.
Yeah, before they changed it to 19 Delta in the late 70s. But,
they changed it a little bit, didn't they?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I haven't changed the MOS numbers, but the border, though, along Czechoslovakia and East Germany, it was rather boring duty. We had, I don't know, they were like the gunner posts in Korea, but they didn't have as many men in there. There was 3 or 4 at a time is all it was, and it rotated, let's see, what was it, every 8 hours, I believe, we rotated. And all we did is just look through our binoculars and watch the cows out in the field graze, and that was about it. I mean, it was peaceful duty, but boring.
Wow.
But every now and then something might happen. We were supposed to report anything we saw, any changes. Like if we see 3 or 4 cows for a week, keep that documented.
Yeah.
And then that following week, no cows whatsoever. They want to know every bit of information, you know. So that's basically what we did.
Yeah.
There was
Well, the one thing I think the Russians like to fly their choppers in close to the border, didn't they? Did you ever have that experience?
Could you say that again, please, Don?
What I was asking, I've heard of where the Russians were thinking about flying in close to the border with their helicopters, like the Hind D. Did you ever experience that?
Yeah, they did that. Yeah, now that you mention it, I know that was done. I'm trying to think of, I can't think of any incidents that happened while I was there, but I know in past history there actually have been. Bob Coon might even know more about it, but I know there were casualties, far fewer than Korea, especially maybe in the 50s while people were trying to escape the communist countries and trying to get into West Germany. But sometimes there would be a GI that would get caught in the middle of a firefight or step on a landmine, you know?
Yeah. Well, I know like a friend of mine, although he was like me, he served during the 80s. In fact, we got him scheduled on for next week. And he spent quite a bit of time with over on the West German border, especially with the 11th ACR back through the 80s. But, you know, we talked about it. He said, yeah, you guys had a little more dangerous. I said, well, Lou, I told him, I said, I wouldn't call it a little more dangerous on the DMZ. It's a little more hazardous. I said, Germany was probably a little more dangerous. You know, Korea, our prominent worries was North Korea. Over during the Cold War over in Europe, the biggest, you had to worry about the Soviet Union and every other Eastern Bloc country there, you know, a lot bigger, massive military. You know, and so in actually, you know, it's like I told him, yeah, we had a little more active. Of course, Harold goes, yeah, we didn't have to carry loaded weapons. No, I said, you have to do that in the DMZ. That was quite normal, you know. And so, but yeah, it's just, I know that it's, you know, and I've had other friends who are in Germany. My only experience in Germany, Doug, has been reforgers. I went on a couple of reforgers, so. You know, and that's about it. Then you get to spend time
I've been on a couple of them myself.
What's that?
Yeah, I've been on two of them myself. One time the weather was nice, but the last time the weather was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I we had a early spring, aren't they? Or at least they were when I was there.
Yeah. Well, the only thing we ended up doing was like, we ended up at Grafenwehr for recovery. And heck, you only spent, like, we were at Grafenwehr for about 2 to 3 weeks for recovery. It only take us about 2 to 3 days to do recovery. The rest of the time, we were staying in the beer tent over there, you know, the big fest tent they use.
That sounds good.
It was pretty cheap and quite good, too, Levi.
Oh, that sounds good.
I haven't tasted anything like it since I've been back home here in the United States, even with all these craft beers that are coming out.
Right.
I don't know, the German beer seems to have done a lot smoother.
Yeah. So, and, but no. Hey, let me take a little change of direction. I just wanted you to talk a little bit. I just want people to know you got experience on both sides. And especially like, you know, since we've both been working with Bob a bit on the books and helping push it. And because actually Bob's been trying to cover the Cold War, which was from like over there in Korea and in Germany. But the one thing I like to bring up and talk about and also push is the videos you and I worked on. And I'll let you discuss, explain that a little more because that's your pet project. I had the easy part. I just had to put the pictures in line, add the music, and create the video. You're the one that had to go through and do all the captions and so on. So I want you to explain in detail about especially the 4 incident videos, what we did, and also the barrier fence and so on. Just explain what went into them and why we did them. So go ahead.
Sure.
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, you know, I have ever since I've been on Facebook, 10 years or so, I've been looking for pictures or articles or any evidence of incidents that happened in Korea since the armistice in 1953 up until the current date. And it's very, very few and far between. I don't see any movies or videos about it. But people were sending in pictures that they had, along with newspaper articles, mainly from Stars and Stripes. And we started discussing, I put an answer to one of the posts or something or other, and I said, now I'd like to make a movie of these. And then Tom, I'll do it.
That's Thomas. That's my buddy. Yeah.
The Tommy was pushing right through, I'll tell you. And I said, bingo, here's a guy who could really make a movie. I've seen Tom's other movies of the DMZ he's made,
Yes.
The camps and the cities and the outlying areas, the hills, whatever the second division was. Tom had some good videos of those. But we got these incidents together, and let's see. I'm looking for the statistics, Tom. The first video, we've got somewhere up around 5,000 to 6,000 views on it already.
Wow.
It's over 8,100 views now.
8,100?
Did you say, Tom?
8,100 views. The first one's over 8,100 views now.
Yeah.
That's a lot of views.
That video there, that was, I took pictures from the late 50s all the way through the late 80s and made a story of it. And that thing it's still going strong. And that was and I wanted to redo it, but I thought I made some mistakes, but people like it. They must, I haven't heard any bad feedback about it, other than a couple of guys saying, well, you missed my name or my unit or something, which wasn't intentional, but, it is, there's a number of ways we've been wanting to get word out about Dewey in the DMZ, and folks is one, like Bob Kerr, and Mark Heathco, and there are other authors, too. But I thought pictures is the best way to show people the dangers of the DMZ. That was not like Garrison Duty and Firewatch or anything like that. Your uniform is clean, starched, and your boots are shiny. It's nothing like that.
No.
As a matter of fact, I don't know, Levi, but I know when I was up there, the company commander didn't care if your boots were dirty or if you didn't have to worry about starch fatigues.
That's true.
I mean, we didn't have the inspections or anything like that. So that was one good part about Dewey up there.
Just make sure the weapons clean.
Thomas said make sure the weapons was clean. Yeah, we definitely had to keep them clean.
Absolutely. That's right. Especially your weapon. That thing had to be clean. But in my unit, some guys didn't clean their magazines. If you leave bullets in the magazine, 20 rounds, and you leave it in there for a month or two, the spring kind of gets a little flimsy, and the gunk from manufacturing the magazine as well as the bullets, there's always a little residue on there, and it gets thick.
Oh, yes.
And I remember a patrol got into a firefight. We had M14s, my company did.
Oh, did you?
And his weapon jammed.
Oh,
and
okay.
that was because the ammo couldn't go up into the breach, couldn't load.
Right.
And what we had to do was take, they got a detail down there, took every magazine, took all the bullets out of there, cleaned them up with, I think it was mineral spirits, cleaned everything up. Sprayed it all off with air, make sure there's no gunk in there, and then they reloaded all the magazines, and then it was a standing order from that time on, if they sit for a month or two,
right.
do it again. Yeah, because we didn't want to get caught like that, yeah.
And Doug, we had the same problem with the M16. We had the M16 when we was up there. I guess because we were the infantry unit, But we had the 16, and we definitely had to keep them clean because they jammed real quick.
That's why they went to on the A1, they added the forward assist.
I mean, they did gum up, didn't they?
Right, yeah, a minute.
There's a jam, yeah.
And Thomas, what is that?
Scary.
Yeah, Thomas, what is the 8-1? See, the only thing I know was the M16, and that was it.
See, the A1, they added the forward assist. There were two additions to it.
Okay.
But the forward assist, because that bolt on the M16, it's aluminum bolt. It is so light, and the buffer spring, I think they improved on the buffer spring.
Okay.
So that was back in the buttstock.
Mm-hmm.
And, but there wasn't not a, the old M6, the original M16s, or even the A1s, in my opinion. But the buffer spring was so weak, it wasn't put riding the bolt all the way forward. So, if you got one little bit of grit inside the chamber there, it would jam up the bolt.
Oh, yes.
And that's part of it because, if you look at, like the M14, the bolt in that thing, if you get like an M1 Garand, if you get your finger in the way, you're going to know it.
That's true, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So, but the M16, but the biggest thing they improve on is the ammo feed. Otherwise, riding the bolt, the buffer spring and the forward assist.
Okay.
So, and I know sometimes firing the M16 actually had to use the forward assist, especially if you ever fire blanks out of it, because the blanks are actually a hair shorter than a regular round. And so, but that was the difference. Now, just while we're on it, the A2s is when they came out, like when I was back in Korea in '88, M16 A2s came out, and that's why they went to the 3-round burst. On it, which I didn't like many people. In fact, as you know, they've done away with it in time in the early 2000s. But the improvements, the M16A2, they came out with better rounds. You had a little more. It was a little more accurate as a weapon. Otherwise, you didn't have that severe drop of the round at, let's say, 250, 300 meters.
Right.
And so. And it had a lot better stock hand guard on the front you could hold on to. Instead of that triangle smooth thing, they actually had a grooved round hand stock. So when you grab it, it's not going to slip in your hand like the old triangle stocks were.
Oh, okay.
So that's just some improvement.
Yeah, I've never heard that stories.
Okay. Well, Thomas, can you explain that three-round burst? Because that's new to me.
Well, see, what they did in the M16, they redesigned the burst, based off Vietnam, which, mind you, this is '88 when we got the weapon.
Okay.
15 years after Vietnam's over. But their mentality, from what was explained to us, and which makes sense, is they thought, since the weapon was so fully auto, the M16 up to then, that a lot of ammo was wasted. So what they did, they took the M16 A2, and instead of fully auto, you went, say single shot, and it was a 3-round burst. So every 3 rounds, you had to re-squeeze the trigger. Mm-hmm. So what they were doing, the Army was doing, is try to force a 3-round burst on the soldiers. And, as we all know, there's a time for a 3-round burst, and there's a time not for it. And so, but they were trying to force trigger control instead of teaching it. So, but they did when they went to the M4s in the early 2000s. When they started converting, they went back to a fully auto weapon. So, and I do know that. But the M16A2s, yeah, they didn't last too long. So less than 20 years. But that's what an M16A2 was. That 3-round burst. It was not a good thing.
And Thomas, and I think you told me before too. I was a grenadier up in there, but I had my 16. I took both of them on patrols, and they did away with the 79, didn't they?
Yeah, they went away. They did away with the M79. I'm not sure when. When I came in, they had the 203s, and that's where they had the 40 millimeter grenade launcher mounted to the bottom of the M16. On the front stock.
Right.
So, but they did that way. They combined it into one. And I know at that time you can get the old flechette rounds. The beehive round,
right?
Sometimes called or flechette, and because they were concerned that when you fire, it would eat up the end of the M16 barrel. And so, because. But I always thought they should have kept the M79 separate. I guess they were trying to cut down on the weight load. But for me, in my opinion, the M79, it's nice having that big 40 millimeter shotgun.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we used them in the DMZ I remember that. And then there was a base you could actually put them on, use them as a little mortar, so to speak.
Oh, yeah.
Get your, you remember that, Levi?
Yes, I remember that. That's right.
Yeah.
It had that like a little
good
mortar.
weapon, really.
Yes, and I just love it too. I know when I go on patrol, I have my M79, but then I also have my M16. Sometimes I have 3. I take my 45 with me too. But
What?
yeah,
For bear, huh?
yeah. Well, pack down. And like Doug, you said, Tom, it's very scary out on that on the patrols out there, and the OPs. We called them GPs back in the day, but they were very scary.
Yeah, well, I think, it's like you and I talked before, the difference in some ways, not that I experienced Vietnam, but I know from your little experience.
Oh, yes.
And, from other guys I talked to. In Vietnam, they were expecting contact. That was just a given fact.
Yeah, all the time.
Where Korea, we didn't know what to expect. It was like, well, the North Koreans shouldn't do anything, but you had to be ready for it. And, sometimes it did happen. Not to the extreme of Vietnam, but it was just as dangerous, if not more so. Concerning the areas we had to cover were loaded with minefields.
Right.
And that was, one of the big dangers, and that could plague you.
Right.
So, plus, what do you want to say, the traps that the North Koreans would sometimes put out, which they did that just recently, a year ago, where they placed two, more like what they call IEDs now, and where those two young South Korean soldiers, the one lost both his legs, the other one lost one leg, and, when they play that, I know when they play that in the news, I listen, okay, that's not surprising. Of course, from what I've seen, the reaction of most Americans, we're going to war with North Korea. It's like, really? This is nothing new, people.
Yeah,
back to the 60s.
Yeah, we know that.
Right. And Doug.
Yeah. So, and it's like, okay, this is nothing new, And so, if people, and I don't think people know, well, back to the videos.
Back to the video. I got sidetracked. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I love the videos. I love them.
And I was going to bring it back to the videos. We did, me and Doug did the one just on the 50s and 60s.
Okay.
Where, as we all know, the 60s, especially the latter 60s, was the most active times on the most dangerous times up in the DMZ.
Right.
And, and Doug, and that's what's, you got a lot of the incidents that actually happened up there where, our fellow soldiers were killed. And Doug's got a lot of those logged in there, including trucks that were blown up or Jeeps and so forth. And so, but the sad part is we haven't figured out, speaking of the 50s and 60s video is the second of the 4 we did on incident. We got one that's called just, I have to go back and read the name because I varied the name a little bit, but we did 2 just covering the whole time period of the DMZ. And you had the part 1 and part 2, which is the 4th video. We did the 50s, 60s, the 70s, 80s, then we did part 2 to a continuation of the first video, Levi.
Okay.
And the one thing I'll jump in real quick, say that I'll let Doug have the floor back, is what's funny is, or funny or ironic or how you want to state it, the 70s and 80s video is the one that keeps growing faster than the 50s and 60s. And so I don't, me and Doug have talked about this. We don't know if people are that intrigued that stuff happened in the 70s and 80s.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. And maybe because it's a younger generation, more my age, and which ain't a whole lot of different years. But, when you're talking 12, 13 years between me and you two guys.
Right.
But still, from the, I don't know. It just seems, and I haven't, because I pushed the videos off and on. But the 70s and 80s, I haven't pushed that hard. And it's over 3,900 views now.
Wow.
Where the 50s and 60s is only 2,300. And we have yet to figure what the fantasy, I guess you could say the fantasy with the 70s and 80s video, because it's really grown quicker than those. The first video was not surprising it's grown because that was the first one, and we pushed it harder probably than all four.
Okay.
But the 70s and 80s, it's like I said, it's very close to 4,000. I never had to push it hard because it grew on its own. So I don't know. It's kind of confusing why that one's grown quicker in the 50s and 60s in views. It's kind of intriguing why it did. I don't know. And because like I said, me and Doug have talked about it. And then we got the fourth one. I haven't pushed it too hard, but it's at about 2,300 views, by the way. And so, but one of the things I'll say, then I'll shut up. And like I said, I'll let Doug back in. But the one thing we wanted to do, we wanted to make several videos. That way we had more than one just floating around there. So hoping people will come across, the four. So, and that's the goal is, more videos, more chances of people seeing them by happen up on the DMZ, what it was like. So, but go ahead, back to you, Doug. I'm sorry. I get a little ahead of you, probably.
We can't hardly hear you, Doug. Just a little.
Yeah, it sounds like you dropped off quite a bit.
You back? Yeah, you back now.
You're good, Doug.
50-60s video, I think, is my best effort. I got some good pictures. There was plenty of pictures, actually, from the 60s. And I edited down to the ones that had the most impact. There's actually pictures of the fuel jacket, the helmet, and all that of one of the soldiers. His vehicle was ambushed in April of '68. There's a couple trucks here, 3/4-ton trucks that got shot up. Helicopter shot down. A Jeep that got shot up, and a Dukes and a half. I mean, I wanted to show that it wasn't just garrison duty, and I thought I did a good job on this. Did you hear about the Camp Wally bombing by any chance? That happened in '67, I believe, though.
I
Did you hear
can't.
about that one, did I?
I think
They told us about that, that the North Koreans can infiltrate through, the really good ones, and they'll blow up barracks. There were 2 barracks that were blown up in 1960.
Yes, I remember that too. I read that too. Also in I must have been in Mark book also too. But I remember that 'cause I did a lot of research before I met you and Thomas, and I can kind of relax now because you and Thomas do a hell of a job. A hell of a job. I consider you all as movie producers.
Yeah, I would. Someday I'd really like to see something on the DMZ. Now there was, I think, National Geographic, I think, had something on the DMZ.
Right.
And I got to do more research into it. It was a few years back, maybe even more so than that. But there's no publicity or anything. And then I don't know if you've run into it, Levi, where you tell somebody that, I served in the Army. I was on the Korean DMZ, 69, 70.
Right.
You were. That was dangerous. Did you guys get combat pay when you were in there, hazardous duty pay?
Yes, we got. It was 60. If I can remember correct, it was $65 a month.
Yeah, I was going to say 67 or something like that, but we got hazardous duty pay too, and the Army doesn't issue that unless it is truly hazardous duty, which it was. I mean,
Right.
It doesn't matter what MLS you were up there in the DMZ. If North Koreans wanted to come across the DMZ and raise hell, they could.
Right. That's right.
We always called the speed bump. Remember that?
Yes, and that was Thomas always. Thomas, I talk about. If you get caught in that zone when they come over, we won't make it back to the bridge because we was just only just a speed bump.
That's about it. Yeah.
It's no.
Especially if they decide to if somebody gets antsy and squeeze the trigger real quick on the explosives on the bridge. Yeah. Because,
That's right.
That bridge, Freedom Bridge, was wired to blow, and, it was wired to blow until who knows what. Now, the unification bridge that replaced in the 90s, I don't know if that thing's wired to blow or not, to be honest. I'm not going to say yes or no. It makes you kind of wonder, you know. And, of course, the Freon unification bridge is a 4 or 6 lanes, you know, 2 or 3 lanes each way.
You kidding?
They got tank traps all across at the middle fences and that to keep anybody from trying to run either way. It's, you know, narrowed down barricades. That's what I was trying to come up with, barricades. So
Okay.
they got barricaded down to 1 lane each way going across the unification bridge. And so, but yeah, Freedom was wired to blow, and I know the engineers had to check it even well into the 80s, you know, because that was still, you know, the main drag going across the Indian River. People don't know, Gat is the Korean word for river. And,
right.
So I'll just explain that for the viewers. You know, I say Indian Gat, most of us know what I mean, but it means Indian River. Gat is the Korean for river. But yeah, But yeah, by the way, I did put a video out there for Freedom Bridge, too, in between all these. Because me and Doug did all these videos. It was between December last year and, I think, like February, March of this 2016. And so, plus, I put one together for the Bridge of No Return. And then Doug, the most recent one, is Doug wanted to do one on the barrier fence, and that one's up. I just noticed it clicked over 3,200 views.
Okay, right.
So
that was something else. Wait. That's pretty good, Tom.
Yes, and I watched that video too.
It's so, and I haven't put. What's that, Doug?
You know, I managed to find pictures from the very beginning of the MDL. And then you know, the building of the barrier fence, and I got a lot of pictures of from guys during the construction, from the engineer units.
Right.
The infantry also helped out too. You know,
Right.
They done foxholes. I wouldn't want to be there in '67. That was a busy time.
Oh yes, and
Yeah.
and cause Doug, cause you all, especially it was understaffed when I was there, but I know when you got there in '68, it was really understaffed.
Oh yeah, they were. When I got there, the line companies were understaffed. They didn't have enough NCOs, so
right.
Spec players were made buck sergeants fairly quick within a few months. You know, as squad leaders, and
that's what I was telling Thomas about it. Cause my daddy thought I was lying. About every 3 months, I got a new rank. You know.
Yeah, and now I remember that. I did listen to that whole recording that you made. Yes, yeah, we heard that then too.
Right. And you know, I used to search for something about Korea, and I ran across you and Thomas' video, and that really made my day. Because you all two got it covered.
Did you see it on YouTube then?
Oh yes, on YouTube. Yes, on YouTube. Mm-hmm.
Well, see,
People don't
I
they
think.
wouldn't believe all of the incidents that have happened in Korea, you know, and that's I just scratched the surface. This is what's documented.
Okay.
Some that have no articles or no pictures. There is a list. It's not a good list, but I forgot what website it's on. It's not Wikipedia, but it does tell. I think it might be Indian Scouts. Their webpage. They're fairly accurate on all incidents that happened.
Right.
But I know there are way more than that too.
And you know the video.
Especially if they kill, you know, if you're in the foxhole and the infiltrator comes up to the fence.
Right.
And the guys in the foxhole will either lob a grenade or you know, just wrap off a few rounds and dispatch of him. You don't hear about those kinds of things, but it was still nonetheless dangerous duty, you know.
Oh yes, yeah. It was very dangerous. And you know what, Doug? I would have felt a lot safer if Thomas had been there with me.
Okay.
Right, Thomas?
I don't know. I can't answer that one. But back when you were there, I was all 7 years old, Levi.
Okay.
I don't know what good I was at you then. Although I could shoot a rifle by the time I was 7, but that was only, well, it was similar to the M16. It was a 22 caliber.
Okay. But you know, I take my hats off to you guys, man, cause getting all them, getting all that film on video, it had to be a lot of work to that.
God, like you said, probably did the worst of the work. Putting the videos together, I mean, I'm not no pro, far from it, but it's, I've done enough of them that it's an easy knack for me to do, and, you know, it's like, in fact, I just put one together over, let's say something. I put one together yesterday morning, and that's taking Bob's book 3 on the DMZ and Mark's call sign Purple 3, and I just made a short video, and just to advertise it, partly to advertise the books, but to advertise the books on the DMZ. And, you know, both neither Bob or Mark, you know, and I know those two try to reiterate, and I do too. They're not trying to make money off this, not for their pocket game. If they make any money, it's to be reinvested somewhere else, whether within promoting the books and so forth. But the whole goal that Mark and Bob are trying to do is bring out the stories, especially in this case on the DMZ. And so, you know, that's why I made the short video. I just noticed earlier somebody says I didn't go back far enough. Well, you know, I was just taking videos with Mark's. You ain't going to get back far enough. Mark was there through the 80s, so I used his pictures, and I just grabbed a few, you know, because it's a short video. I only used like about 15 pictures total.
Okay.
And I was trying to, and I was alternating between, you know, pictures there, one of Bob's book, one of Mark's book, and so forth, because I want to get equal footing for both of them. And of course, the last one I put my thing that I do, saying this was our war. Oh my God! I just went brain dead, Doug. How I write that? This was our world. This was our war. Korean DMZ vet.
Yes,
you know?
yes, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
I remember that slogan. Right, that's a nice slogan too.
Well, and people don't understand that. And you know, and I've had some what war. I said, if you haven't been there, you just don't know. You know?
Yeah. Well, tell you what, we've done some headway, though, aren't we, with the videos and the books? I mean, there are a few books from the 60s authors that made some really good books, but Mark, I think, is the first one that's doing something decent about the 80s.
Well, I think, yeah, and Mark started, if people don't realize, Mark's first tour was either 78 or 79 over there. So Mark came in at the end of the 70s.
You're right. He was
and was there through the 80s.
I remember reading that now, yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, Mark, he don't have any pictures from really up in the DMZ as I know of, but he does have some from 78, 79 in the old green pickle suit, and he's running around with his tow jeep, so.
Yep, I think I've seen that one just a day or two ago.
Yeah, Mark, you know how Mark likes to push the pictures out there.
I forgot, he also was there when they still had the fatigues.
What's that?
Well, Mark was, I've seen less pictures of Mark, and he's wearing the BDUs. And then other picture I saw him, he's wearing fatigues, and then it said the date, 78 or 79. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, he was over there a lot of times.
Well, a lot of his pictures from off the patrols was the mid-'80s, like 85, 86. You know, and like, in fact, I used some of his pictures to make some little ad graphics for him, you know, for both of his books, for DEFCON 4 and for Call Sign Purple 3. So I've been helping him out by doing that. So, and, well, you know, like somebody, I put that new video out, somebody goes, that must have taken a while. I said, no, that only took about 15 minutes. I said, it takes longer to do up each graphic that I put in there. Because I'm trying to find the right pictures and the right texting, coloring, and everything to go with it. You know, to the video, as long as I can find the music that I I believe it'll be appropriate with the video and time and sound, and that's what's hardest on doing the videos is trying to get the music to mesh. And I hate using more than one song. I like to keep it down to one song for the whole video. So, and once in a while I have a song run a hair short or hair over, but it is what it is. But the point is, is trying to get out, the video itself, it's the pictures in there we're trying to put out. The music's there just like a movie, they're trying to, elevate an excitement to the video.
Yeah, the music is the right fit.
Our videos are roughly 5 minutes apiece, and that's really long enough, And then they can go on to the next video whenever they want to, or the next one, instead of making one long video.
Yeah, because and I've done it too. I think we all have. If you start getting long videos, they're not going to watch the whole thing. 5 minutes, I think, has always been a good number. But our, Doug and I wanted to do several videos. That way, you got several of them floating around out there, and hopefully, people will pick up on them.
Oh yes.
Because I think the odds are better that somebody's going to see them if you got several instead of just once.
That was right. Yep, that's true.
Well, I noticed, I saw the other day, yesterday, somebody was sharing the 70s and 80s video, and I just smiled and just kept going on, but I seen what, where he shared it from, where he pulled it off YouTube or whatever, but I said, that's good, guys are sharing it. And the guy, I believe, served there in the 70s or late 70s. I know that for a fact. I won't mention his name right now. But I thought it was kind of neat. I see him sharing the video without asking him to, so. And that's been the whole thing. But, it's just, with the videos, though, the 70s and 80s is really kind of intrigued me how that one's grown quicker than any of the other last three we did. The first one was out, a good month before we did the others, Doug?
What was that, Tom? You broke up.
I was saying the first video was out for about a month before we started on the others.
That's right, yeah. Yep, and we were getting good numbers, and I decided, I think I'll put the word out again on the posts on all the DMZ pages, as a matter of fact. And we're looking for more pictures, articles or whatever, anything that has proof of action along the DMZ. And sure enough, I got enough of them in.
Yeah,
It didn't take long to make that one either. I compiled those, I think, in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, maybe longer. But it didn't take long to get those pictures together. We had plenty of them coming in.
Yeah, well, when we got going the first one, I believe you still had a lot of pictures coming in, so that's why we went ahead and waited about a month, and we kind of rapid fired the next three. And so,
I've got a bunch of pictures now from other guys who've sent pictures in within the past couple of months, but I'm not in a hurry to get that video made, but I think it'd be time to put a new video out.
No, that's fine with me. Just so everybody knows where to find them on YouTube, the easiest way to search for them, they could go by my name. All the videos are placed under my name. I mean, you can search for DMZ, but don't get me started on that. If you search, there's a lot of videos out there in the DMZ from, Joe Snuffy going up there and doing his one-day visit, and you got to say hi to one of the South Korean guards there and take a picture with him,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just see this, and I'm telling you, see people, I see somebody's videos, here's this lady, look up at the DMZ, and I'm thinking, how the hell you get 100,000 hits? We're struggling, you get 10,000. And she was up there just to see the Blue Billies. Well, I've done that more than once in my life, and that's not what the DMZ's about, not to us, because we lived it. And but people can find the videos if they search by my name, which is Thomas Lucan. Somebody can try to steal my name. My credit sucks, by the way. But Thomas Lucan, Thomas. My last name is Luckes. And you can search by my name on YouTube, and you will find I got quite a few videos there, with most of them being military. I got a few in there about baseball, Levi. So.
Oh yeah, we love that baseball.
Oh yeah, and I got a couple on the grandbaby. But past that, almost all my videos, a lot of my videos are majority of my videos are military, you know, and one past another. I got a couple of calf videos in there, so you know, you might not like that, Levi. You're a grunt, but
Yeah. Yeah, you and Harold with the cow, right?
Oh yeah. And in fact, I got one called "If You Ain't Cab," and I won't say the rest due to language, but but no, you can search by my name and find. And there's another way you can search. I'm having one of my forgetful days with names. But God bless it. I can get on there and look later. But you know, but that's the easiest way to find them. There's numerous videos I have of it, and the pictures I have, like Doug said, even because I did 3 other videos previous to the incident videos, just on the DMZ.
Okay.
And the videos I got are most of the pictures are actually not mine. They are from the other veterans, and I've just used their pictures. You know, to bring out, my whole goal is to bring out the DMZ. You know, that's always been my goal.
Right.
You know, and so is Doug's. That's why, you know, and that's how we got met up, because, you know, it's because of that. In fact, I pulled a lot of the DMZ pictures out of the Korean DMZ group. I just added you to not too long ago, Levi.
Okay.
And so that's where I've gotten a lot of pictures from. And the first one I did is up to, I haven't pushed it hard, but what I did, I was looking to do one about 3 years ago on Freedom Bridge. I ended up doing, I kept coming across more and more DMZ videos the guys were posting, so I kind of went strictly from Freedom Bridge to that time, just about one dedicated to the veterans on the DMZ. The second video I did is my favorite of the 3 I did, the original videos, and that one's 8,300 views now.
Wow.
And that one, it's got some good pictures in there that I like, and the music plays well with it.
Well, guys, we got about 1 more minute left, and I would like for Doug to get a shout out. Who you want to get a shout out to? That time really come up on us when we're having a good time.
Go ahead, Doug.
We can't hardly hear you, Doug. Doug, you coming in weak and it started, Doug.
Yeah, it sounded like you moved the phone away.
No, we could just barely hear you. You can barely hear us? Okay. Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah, I can barely hear Doug.
Yeah, I can barely hear him, too. He's coming in real weak.
Well, Thomas, you want to get ready and try to close it and tell them about who we got up next week?
Excuse me. Yeah, next week we have a gentleman who's another Cold War vet from the 80s, and his name is Harold Mason. Harold's from Chicago, Illinois. He's not a Cubs fan, by the way, just to let you know. I know that.
All right.
He's a White Sox fan. No, but we got Harold Mason. He's did a couple years tours in Germany, one with 11th ACR. What I want him to enlighten us on is the old North Star exercises they used to have in Egypt.
Okay.
And we will have Harold phrases on that, because I don't think a lot of people realize that we used to have a training exercise, and the guys used to go to Egypt back in the 80s.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, and I do got a few pictures of Harold from that time.
Okay.
And so, but Harold Mason, he's a good man. He's a calf trooper.
Oh,
very proud of it. Very proud of it. That's why me and Levi, the picture you see me do, the most confident man in the world. It's just Harold's got the natural pose with it, especially when he's got a Spencer on.
Yeah. I can't wait. And
well, Harold's a good guy, so it'll be fun to have on. And
okay.
But Harold, and sometime we'll have to get Doug back on.
Yeah, because I hate that we lost contact with Doug. I can talk to Doug all day. Doug, if you can hear me, but I can talk to you all day. Oh yes. Well, okay. Well, we gonna get ready to close everything up. I'd like to thank all our listeners, for tuning in, and we'll be back next week on this same time. Thomas, you know what? Thomas will let you know he will Facebook you, right, Thomas?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook. We have a page for the show, and it's WMR Radio-DB, the Veterans Show. And you can find us that way on the Facebook. And we keep updated info, including the call-in number. I do post a call-in number in the Times. So next week we'll be recording a little earlier due to the Super Bowl. So I think well, I'll talk to you later, Levi. But,
okay.
But the forewarned, they'll be recording earlier. It'll probably be 9 Eastern, 8 Central. That seemed to work the best the last couple times.
Okay.
And so, but after that, we'll be doing the normal record times on Sundays, I imagine, since football will be over.
All right. Well, I'd like to say good night to everyone, and we.
Oops, go ahead.
I hope everyone tune back in next week. And Thomas, you.
I just would like to thank everybody for listening, and please tune in every week. We try to have a different guest, and next, just to give a quick lineup, I got Bob Kearns going to be coming on. I got Sarah Mendez. Hopefully Gina Hollis. I got to talk to her again, and Chris Shockey will be on. And so we got, and plus we got Doug will probably come back. We always plan to have a guest speaker on unless something happens at the last minute, So we're always going to have one on. So I thank everybody and ask y'all to come back next week.
All right. So until then, good night. All right, Doug.